and I started to build my own connection with God. Instead of just listening to my mom and praying and talking to God, now it felt like I was having a whole conversation with somebody. I felt a lot more connected with God. And really that's when I began putting all my problems to him.
Today, we're going to meet Jenny, an incredible young lady that has a role right now as a leader in her church, inspiring children to love Christ and to spread the gospel. I loved talking to her, and I know you will too. Welcome to Tea Talks. Jenny, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come to the podcast and to give us the opportunity to get to know you a little better. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Me too. So let's start with you. Tell me a little bit of who you are.
Well, I was born in South Carolina. Okay. Both my parents are Mexican immigrants. And really, I've always grown up in the church. I've grown up in that type of community, and it's all helped me become who I am today.
That's awesome. And what do you do now?
Currently, I am a student at USC Upstate. I am excited because I am trying to be a teacher.
Oh.
So, and one of my biggest goals is to become a teacher at an Adventist school. Mm-hmm. And I currently work in the children's ministry at my church.
That's really nice.
Yes.
So thinking of your spiritual background, your religious background, so you grew up in a church. Was there ever a moment like that you started making a difference between, okay, this is my parents' religion, this is the custom, this is how we do it, to become like more your religion, your thing? Did you ever had that moment?
Yes. So when I was 15, my father, he had always been in church, mm-hmm. but he became a little unconnected. He started losing his faith, and he started leaving church little by little. And he was struggling with an addiction at the moment. Mm-hmm. And that really affected me. Mm-hmm. That really affected me in seeing how he was losing his job. He had a business. He lost his business. My mom was struggling to meet ends reach for mm-hmm. money, financially. I have 3 other siblings, so there's 4 of us in total. So it was very difficult. I started to get really depressed. Oh. My anxiety went up. And really in that moment, I felt very lost. And growing up, I have all of those, I have that faith built already. Mm-hmm. And I have the belief system built already. But really, I had never felt so connected. I had never felt like I had a close relationship with God, because as you said, my faith is because of my parents. I grew up in the church. That's all I've ever known. And really, when I became so depressed and so down, I came to a point where I was so lost. I was so lost and I didn't know what to do.
How old were you at this point?
I was 15.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So I knew so many things, and my mom would constantly remind me, fall on your faith and let all of your problems go to God, talk to him. And I had already done all of that, and I felt like it wasn't working.
It wasn't working.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I felt like I was praying and I was talking to God and nothing was changing. Everything was the same.
How did you overcome that?
Oh, it took me so much time. But really, it was when I started leading.
Oh.
When I started leading, my mom really pushed me mm-hmm. to help in the church, and specifically in the children's ministry. And it wasn't until, I started leading and I started to build my own connection with God. Instead of just listening to my mom and praying and talking to God, now it felt like I was having a whole conversation with somebody. I felt a lot more connected with God. And really that's when I began putting all my problems to him and allowing myself to accept God in my heart, not because of my parents, but because of my faith that I wanted to have in him.
Why do you think leading in the church caused this transformation in you?
I always question it myself. I wonder, I don't understand why, but I feel like it helped because since I was helping with children, mm-hmm. I was feeling that because of me and because of my faith that I had, I was able to teach these kids. I was able to show them about God's love. I was able to guide them like other people had guided me. And I felt like that pushed me to want to learn more myself.
Now you're a little bit older. You're not
Yes.
15 anymore. You had
No.
those challenges. Then you had your own personal encounter with God moment and you started leading in the church. What are the greatest challenges that you face now as a leader, as a young adult
Yes.
leader in the church?
I feel like one of the biggest things that I face is that I feel that I am too young and I feel like they don't listen to me. So sometimes, we'll be in meetings or we'll be having different interactions with the adults. And sometimes I feel like they don't listen to me. And I feel like that's one of the things that I struggle with. I struggle with speaking up. And
so you feel shy. You don't want to
yes.
tell them. Okay.
Yes. And specifically on certain things, there's some things that, I have so many ideas. My head is filled with so many ideas. Sometimes I tell my mom my head wants to pop because I have so many ideas in my head. And sometimes I feel like I give them those ideas and it just feels like they're not even listening at moments. And I mean, I really do feel though, as my community and my church, they really have, built a foundation where it's like firm, and they really have helped me become the leader I am today. They just sometimes struggle with accepting that, they have to allow the youth to guide as well.
Got it. How long have you been doing this?
I became the director of the children's ministry at 17.
Okay.
And now I'm 19. So
it's been a couple
yes,
years.
it has.
And you're struggling because they're not listening. Why did you stay?
It was kind of one of those things that it was like, I didn't want to stay.
Okay.
The first year, it was like, I really wanted to do it. I was excited. And I had a really good mentor. So that person really helped me and they guided me. But the second year that they asked me to become director again, I really struggled to say yes. And I got the call and they were like, we want you to lead again. And I said no. I said no the first time because I had the group I was working with, it was very difficult for me to work with them. And so I felt alone at moments. I felt like I was doing all the work and nobody else was helping me. And I said no the first time. The second time they called me again, they were like, please, we need you to lead. You're a good leader. We want you to lead this ministry. And I said no again. But it came to a point where nobody was accepting that position at my church and nobody was saying yes to that. And I felt like, I was like, I don't want to leave this ministry either because it's children. We want them to learn about God. They're the young minds and they want to grow. I want them to grow in the faith as well.
If you give up, they're going to give up too. Yeah,
yes.
I get it.
So I finally accepted and it really, I feel like this year has been a lot easier. It's been a lot easier to work because I already know what I'm doing. And I've had a lot more people who have helped me and guided me as well.
I think with everybody, we go through like this transition period. The first year sometimes is a complete waste because you're just learning what you're doing, so it's very difficult. I know your church and your church it's a very good church. You guys have a lot of young adults, youth and young adults. And I admire the fact that they allow you guys to work because believe it or not all churches are like that. Just even though they're not listening to you, they're at least giving you the position because there's a lot of places that I go that first of all, there's no young adults. And when they do have young adults, they do not let the young adults not even have the key for the gender's room, So I admire that and I appreciate the fact that you stayed and even though you didn't want to, but God pushed you a little. What do you think your church, let's talk about your church. They're already doing great.
Yes.
But to do a little better. What do you think they could do to help avoid a little bit of these frustrations that young adults have? What you're feeling, you're not alone. There's a lot of young adults that feel that way. What do you think they can do to help alleviate that?
I truly believe that it would help a lot if, they listened more. They listened more and they allowed us to do a lot of other things. I feel like there's moments where they're just a little iffy about new things. I mean, I feel like they're so built on the past and they're so built on the things that they already know that sometimes it's difficult for them to accept new things, especially new programs, new activities that they've never done before. And really allowing us to do those things because it's so we're living in a different moment where the things that they enjoyed when they were younger are not the things we enjoy now. And I feel like allowing us to do these activities and these events that we enjoy as youth would allow us to grow a lot more too. And I feel like it would help bring more people into our community as well.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, okay? I don't like this expression, but I don't know a different expression in English. I'm going to pretend I'm the older leaders in your church. But if I allow the young people to lead and they make mistakes, what's going to happen? What would you answer to that?
Oh, that's a difficult question. We have to learn from our mistakes.
Yes!
We have to learn, and because of those mistakes, we can learn to be better, and we can learn to work, and those events and those things that we're doing can be even better, and they can grow even bigger.
Yes. Allow the young people to make mistakes. That's how they can learn.
Yes.
Yeah, I am just trying to really be a voice for both sides because I want them to hear what you guys think. Because I can go to the churches and I can talk and talk and talk, but I think when they listen from you guys, it's really what's going to make a difference. Yeah. I admire churches that are already allowing young people to do the work, but there's always room for improvement.
Yes.
How about that young person who is in a church that are not giving opportunities? It's not, if they give opportunities, they don't really allow them to, I let you do it as long as I'm controlling you. What do you say for a young person that is going through this kind of struggles?
I feel like what I would tell them is to keep pushing forward.
Yes.
You're going to find yourself in so many difficult situations. I found myself dealing with so many different personalities, different tempers. And at first it was really hard. I feel like personally I'm a sensitive person. So still even speaking up about certain things, I get emotional and I get a little nervous. But dealing with these people, you're always going to have to deal with different types of people.
Yes.
And it's really overcoming that fear. It's overcoming that fear of talking to them, but also allowing them to know your opinion, allowing them to know what you're thinking. Because if you keep it all inside, you're never going to get anywhere. I feel like that happened to me the first time I was leading. I had one specific person who I felt like was micromanaging. So it's like I had these ideas, I wanted to do these things, but this person was like, no, do it the way I've done it. Do it the way I've done it. And it became so difficult to work with that person. And it was until I finally spoke up and I was like, I want to work this way. I want to do these things. And I want you to continue helping me, yes, but I want to be able to lead it myself so that in every moment I can then become you. I can help lead other people as well.
The difference between micromanaging and mentorship.
Yes.
I think that's what you just mentioned.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about what do you think of the importance of mentorship?
Mentorship is one of those things where it's like that person is helping you, but they're not doing it for you. It's like, I see it in the perspective of a painter. Mm-hmm. A painter, when you're painting, they want to teach you to do it, but they don't want to do it for you. So the person who's teaching you, they're showing you their strokes, but if you do it a different way, they're not going to tell you, you have to do it my way. So that's like a mentor. A mentor is showing you how to do the things. They're helping you. They're walking with you. But in every moment, they're also allowing you to do it yourself.
But if you do your way, wouldn't you not follow God's principles?
In a way, you'll have your own connection. So sometimes it feels like
I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? I do not believe that.
Yes. It's really about our own personal faith. Yeah. It's like everybody can tell you something different, but it's on what you believe in your heart. Yeah. It's what you have rooted in you. Yeah. So they can say, oh, this is not right. This is not the correct way. but I know my intentions in my heart, and I know what I'm feeling in that moment.
And not only that, there's the intention, but sometimes we confuse principles, God's principles, with just different styles. You know, we are not saying, like an example that you gave of the painter, a different stroke is just a different stroke, it's not a different principle. So basically, what you were saying before is like there's different ways to do the ministry. This is not the only way, and it doesn't mean that I'm lowering God's principles, that I'm taking it away from God's law or the Bible or anything like that. We're just gonna deliver in a different way. Kind of like what we're doing right now, a podcast. This is something different. In the past, we didn't have this, right? Actually, we had something very similar called radio. But we decided to call podcast now. But sometimes it's a different delivery. The principle stays the same. The message stays the same. It's more relatable to the younger generation. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little better.
Thank you.
I actually really enjoyed the programs that you guys have at your church. You guys have Friday evening, right?
Yes, we do.
The young adults, the youth that do it. And you guys interviewed me there, and that was a lot of fun. And I really appreciate the work that you all are doing. And I hope that working together, we can do even better. And I appreciate your ministry. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.